Hey guys, what's up? It's Kevin for the win, and we're back for another edition of Diablo 3. Today on the channel, we are taking a look at another Crusader build. This one is the Thorns of Invoker set. So, this is pretty much very similar to the Bombardment Crusader build that we did previously on the channel, that using the Akarat armor set. So, this is 2-piece bonus is basically you do Thorns damage in all directions, and whenever you use slash, you get a certain amount of stacks that increase the amount of damage that Thorns do. 4-piece bonus pretty much says that you get reduced damage for the amount of bombardments that are dropping down. And the 6-piece bonus is basically that slash punishment. For the intents of this build, it's going to be slash that we're using to do a lot of damage. To help this set out, we're using the breastplate and necklace of Akan so that we can get the 2-piece bonus for that. We're also using the Captain Crimson set, that being for the belt and the boots. That way we are able to get more damage out based on the amount of cooldown that we have. As I said before, using Talismans of Akan because Invoker set does not have a breastplate or a necklace. So these are abilities that are skills that we're going to be using. We're going to be using Slash, Bombardment, Barrows of Spike because we are a Thorns build, so we want to do the most damage with Thorns. Iron Skill, which will give us more Thorns when we activate it. Akarat's Champion, so we get a bit more toughness in regards to defense, and we also get a little bit of an attack boost that way too. And we're also going to be using the sets, as you see here, Steel Charge, because we're going to be using the steel, or steed, I should say, to move around. These are the passives. Iron Maiden, as you can see here, Finery, Indestructible, the basic ones that you would use for Crusader. And this is the important thing. You have to use these in your cube. The Mortal Drama, Belt of the Trove, and Ring of Royal Grandeur. This is where the Paragon is. For a more complete breakdown on the build, I will link in the description armor. So we're going to have a link in the description that's a link to Icy Veins, a good resource. So I'm going to show you how this plays. It's very similar to the Bombardment Crusader build. The only difference is this one is a bit more tankier. So you're going to lose a little bit of speed in terms of clear time, but you're going to get a lot tankier, which is very important because the tankier that we are and the higher we go up in the greater rifts, we will be able to do more damage and have greater success and a higher chance to get 4-piece bonuses. So I'm starting with a greater rift 60. It's going to be the same thing as last time when we were using the Arab build. Only difference is I'm going to be slashing around a lot more because now slash does a lot more damage based on the amount of thorns that we have. In this armor, really what you want to focus on is getting the maximum amount of thorns on all your armor pieces where you can get it. Then you would also want to get, like, on your helm, 6.0 hit crit ratio damage. And then on your gloves, you want crit hit damage, 6%, crit hit damage, I should say, 50%, crit hit chance, 6.0%, and attack speed would be good. Pretty much you want cooldown anywhere that you could possibly get. Anywhere that you can buff slash and also bombardment, you want to potentially have that on. The amount of cooldown is very important. As you can see, bombardments are really going to be doing the amount of damage. What you need to do is always keep your Akarat's Champion active as well as your Iron Skin. So you definitely need to keep a lookout on the left-hand side of your screen or wherever your skills cooldowns reset location is so that you can keep an eye. And basically, all you're really going to be doing is clicking Akarat's Champion, slashing around enemies to do massive amounts of damage, because remember that first slash that you do does a very tremendous amount of increased damage, and then on top of the thorn stack, so that's going to do a lot for you, so keep that in mind. Case in point here, I activate my Iron Skin again so I could do more things. If you run into a situation where there are a lot of elite packs on screen, definitely make sure to click bombardments as opposed to waiting for bombardment to drop naturally thanks to belt or the Mortal Drama and also the Belt of Trove buffs that it's given. As I've said before on the channel, Bombardment Crusader is pretty much S-tier build at this point. It's a matter of whether you want to use the Akan mixed with Invoker or Invoker mixed with Akan. With playtesting throughout the season of Season 22 of Diablo 3, I honestly say that the Thorns Invoker variation for Bombardment Crusader is actually better just based on the amount of toughness that you have compared to the other one. Keep in mind we're also using reciprocation because we will take a lot of damage at higher greater rifts, and then we can just fire that back as Thorns damage, which is very, very good. And then when you factor in all the earth stacks that we have on this armor set, it really, really stacks up the amount of Thorns damage that you can do. Gem-wise, we have Bane of the Stricken, Bane of the Trap, and Goaka Swiftness. Goaka Swiftness is there. Or, correction, not Goaka Swiftness. We have Boreski's Chip, so that way we can get even more Thorns damage. So, you know, you want Boreski's Chip as high as possible. Bane of the Trap and Bane of the Stricken also. Idealistically, as you can see here, we're not running into any problems. It's the same thing as always. The bombardments are going to drop naturally thanks to the Mortal Drama, as well as the Belt of the Trove. So, you know what, those are going to drop naturally. And any enemies that you run into, you'll just slash them. And the first hit of slash is always pretty much guaranteed to secure KO. If you don't get another one, just keep slashing away. Rift Guardian's going to go down fast. I'm going to hit Reciprocation. I didn't need it because slash is doing so much damage as it is on this build that you don't really even need to rely on bombardments necessarily for Rift Guardians on like level 60 and 65, maybe not even 70. It's usually when you get higher up in the greater rifts, which this armor can do very well on high greater rifts, that then you really have to work with. So again, the legendary gems I'm using is Boreski's Chip, Bane of Stricken, Bane of the Trap. You could swap one of those out for Goaka Swiftness, but you can't really sacrifice Boreski's Chip because that's where Thorns get it even more increased amount of damage. So this was... how close? There's a 3-minute and 24-second clear time on greater of 60. That just shows you how powerful this armor set is when optimized. There are also no ancient legendary augmentations on any of the armor pieces, so that's something to also keep in mind there as to why we're able to do a lot. Same strategy as before. Make sure you activate your Akarat's Champion, then activate your Iron Skin. Bombardments will drop naturally, but if you see a Elite Pack that is giving you a bit of trouble, just click it that way and then wait for it to cool down. Most of the time, what you're going to be doing is when you see low-level mobs, just click slash. When you see high-level mobs, even, you can click slash, because that first slash hit is doing a tremendous amount of damage thanks to Thorns. So it's really a matter of just keeping your Iron Skin really active so that you can just keep that buff. Because remember, when you activate Iron Skin, you get an increased amount of Thorns. So more Thorns, better for this build, so keep that in mind. So I'm just going to make my way to the Elite Pack. See, I hit it with slash once, and it automatically is dead. I do click Reciprocate every once in a while. There, clicked my Akarat's Champion again. Remember, Akarat's Champion's in here, gives you a lot of defense, which you need to be able to tank hits as you're getting higher up in the greater rifts. Pretty much just, again, slash away. I can pretty much slash that thing in the background, which I'm going to do. Probably be one hit. As you saw there, one hit, it takes down the Elite Packs with general ease, and Bombardments are dropping naturally. I could click Bombardment if I want to, but we're at the end of that particular area, so... same strategy as before. You're going to wait to attack. Maybe I'll click Bombardment here. No, I don't need to use it now. I use Bombardment. I thought it was going to take a little longer than I wanted it to do. Always make sure to keep your Akarat's Champion active. Always make sure to keep your Iron Skin active. And then you're just going to slash away at enemies. Thanks to the way that the set piece bonuses work, slash is going to be doing a tremendous amount of damage. You could also use Punish on this build. I don't necessarily recommend Punish because Punish is not really as effective as Slash. Slash is better because it can cover a wider area as opposed to Punish. Punish, in my opinion, is a bit slow, but you could use Punish if you want it in place of Slash. I recommend, however, going with the Slash because as you see with the way I'm running this armor right now, Slash is really the thing that's doing the major amount of damage. You might feel like this is a little bit slower. Keep in mind that the bombardments are also giving you damage reduction, so you're able to tank more. I personally prefer this variation for Bombardment Crusader as opposed to the previous one that I was using, which is the Akarat's Champion variant. Akarat's Champion does more damage in terms of strength and power, but you are not as tanky as this particular build. This build is more tanky, and you lose a little bit of damage, but you make up for it with basically the buff that you get from Slash thanks to the Invoker set. As you can see, we're pretty much clearing through this greater rift. This is a greater rift 65 with ease. It's pretty much like a hot knife through butter. Bombardments are dropping naturally. If I see that I run into a situation where it's taking too long to kill certain things or there's too many mobs, case in point here, I drop the bombardment naturally there. So I could get rid of that elite monster. There's the early pack. One slash pretty much does it in. And you're pretty much doing that. Honestly, the only thing you really just gotta keep an eye on is constantly keeping your Iron Skin and Akarat's Champion active. And if you see that you're taking a lot of damage, make sure to click that reciprocate, because you could just fire back all that damage as Thorns, which is nice. You could also use vacuum instead of reciprocate on that particular skill. I don't recommend it, because as you go higher up, you're going to be taking more damage. You really don't want to pull enemies closer to you. 1 slash, no, okay. 2 slashes pretty much took him out there, because as you see, I ran out of Iron Skin. So always keep an eye out for Iron Skin. That's the thing that kind of resets on cooldown. You're going to need to click it again. As you see there, that was a greater of 65. Probably another 3-minute clear time in that retrospect there. Overall, so far so good, I would say. So far, nothing is really getting in the way. I'm just leveling up random gems there, so, you know, just for our armor so I can augment. Probably this one I'm going to probably augment at some point here. Let's see. Alright, this was, yeah, another 3-minute and 30-second clear time. So you're going to see there's not a big difference between 60 and 65. Now we're doing greater of 70. Mobs have a lot more HP. They do a bit more damage now. So that's something that we have to keep an eye on. Same strategy as always. Once you get into the Greater Rift, you're going to want to click your Akarat's Champion. And then you want to click your Iron Skin almost immediately afterwards. That way you can guarantee that you're going to have all your buffs in place, and then you're just going to steamroll for things. You slash away. That Elite's got a shield, so I'm going to have to walk away from it. I'm going to focus on these for the moment. As you can see here, I was low on energy there, so I had to be careful, or low on life, I should say. That's one of the problems. As you get higher up in the Grey Rifts, you are going to want to get super aggro with this build, which I do not recommend. So you have to definitely pick your battles. When you see that you're running low on health, use Steed Charge to dash away. Steed Charge is pretty much here for mobility. It's not going to do a whole ton of damage. It's not there for a whole ton of damage. If you want to, what you can do is you can just scout for elite packs as you're going higher up in the Grey Rifts and Steed Charge into them and to do their thing. I like to focus on little mobs because it's also good to kill those little mobs to increase the massacre bonus. So then you can Paragon farm, which this armor is really good at Paragon farming as well. Same strategy as before. I'm going to slash away these targets. I do have to activate my Akarat's Champion again, and also Iron Skin, which you just saw me do. And then you're pretty much just going to steamroll through just about anything. And when you see that something is not steamrolling, that's when you have to use a bit more reservation. But as you can see, even on Greater Rift 70, this armor really has no problems. It's pretty much going at the same pace, even though we're kind of losing a little bit out on the power side now. This is where Akarat's Champion versus this armor, really, you'll see some niche differences. But we will be able to get more 4-piece chance bonuses when we're leveling up our gem, which is very important. And the fact that you could do it on an armor this early, or this high up in a Greater Rift. So we're on Torment, basically 15 right now, difficulty, with Greater Rift. This is just 70? Yeah. So same strategy as before. Akarat's Champion is active, so in a minute, when things die down a bit, I will activate Akarat's Champion. Iron Skin I have to also activate as well, so I gotta keep an eye. I don't want to waste it necessarily, because as you can see, there are not a lot of mobs around me, so that's something you want to keep an eye on while you're playing with this armor. Sometimes you have to be, or you run into a dungeon layout like this one, which is not primarily the greatest. It does slow down. And then you want to activate your Akarat's Champion a bit. Okay, I'm looking at the map because I know they're around this way. I'll make this turn and we'll get to the exit gate. So I went Akarat's Champion, Iron Skin. Just a preemptive strike. I'm dropping Bombardment there because it looked like they were trying to one-shot me with some pulls and some insects. And those things will take you off guard if you're not careful. Okay, I'm going to slash into these guys. Pretty much take them in. You don't want to constantly hold in slash button, because keep in mind that the ability of this armor says that first strike of slash is the one that's going to do the most amount of damage with Thorns. So that's why you want to kind of like pause a little bit before you strike, and then strike again, pause, strike again. That pretty much will help you out in the long haul with this armor set. As you can see here, bombardments are dropping naturally thanks to the mortal. Well, technically, Belt of the Trove is the one that does it. Immortal Drama just buffs the amount of damage that we do with our bombardments. Bombardment, ironically, was considered before Season 22, and F-tier armor was a skill nobody really liked to use. This particular armor was not a very good armor. It was considered F-tier. It's funny that most of the bad tier armors are now incredibly viable for the Crusader. These builds started now, Bombardment Crusader, to pretty much overtake what was considered the original S tier, which is Valor Crusader. Valor Crusader is still pretty much S tier. It hasn't really had any nerf, but people have preferred to go with Bombardment Crusader because, as you can see, look at just the amount of hits that you're able to tank and the amount of bombardments they're just dropping and the amount of Thorns that we have and just the way that a Khan and Invoker really just work really well with each other, that you're able to do this. Invoker, I said, really is the Bombardment Crusader build to go with, though. You can see we're doing a lot with this. I'd say, if you go back, I do have the Khan Invoker variation of Bombardment Crusader. If you're curious for that variant, you can look at it on the playlist. I have a playlist for all the Diablo videos that we've done so far, covered in Season 22. We've covered quite a lot of armors at this point. Okay, we got to the Rift Guardian. Gonna hit Reciprocate. So any damage that does to me, we fire it back. And we didn't get the Reciprocate off there because Slash pretty much took it out in like 3 hits. So overall, that's good. We got an 4-piece chance bonus on level 70, which is somewhat rare in Diablo 3. So I'm just gonna, again, I'm leveling up just random gems at this point that I'm gonna use to like augment my armor. We'd have to be higher up for me to level up my gems further. Honestly, this is probably like a 4-minute clear time, so I think we're actually gonna have a chance because we have extra time that I can do a Greater Rift 75 for you guys and show you how well this does on turn 16 as well. Yep, that was 4-minute clear time. So let's go to a Greater Rift 75, shall we? Alright, we're back. Here is a Greater Rift 75, Torment, 16 difficulty. Same strategy as before. Minute you get out of the gates, make sure you activate your Akarat's Champion. The other thing that you need to do is definitely Iron Skin. I would recommend Iron Skin sometimes even before you activate Akarat's Champion, just because you need the extra amount of Thorns damage to really be able to steamroll through certain things. Okay, as you see here, enemies and mobs have a lot more HP because we're higher up in the Greater Rift, so certain things we're not able to one-shot, but thanks to bombardments, they kind of do take out everything else. This is really where you're going to see that the 4-piece set bonus for this particular armor really comes in tremendously helpful because you're able to tank more hits. Remember, every time bombardments are dropping, you get damage reduction, and since bombardments are pretty much dropping non-stop all the time, you should have a great deal of damage reduction. Case in point, there's a perfect situation where they could not kill me, and I was able to tank the hits, which this is what really Thorns Invoker's bombardment variation is really good for. The other one's good for doing a lot more damage, so that you'll clear things faster, and some of the Earth skills obviously get buffed thanks to the Armor of a Khan. But this is really where I think the pinnacle of Bombardment Crusader and the most effective variation of it really factors in here. So, same strategy as before, dropping bombardments, always keep an eye on your Akarat's Champion, always keep an eye on your Iron Skin, definitely making sure, okay, look, we hit Paragon 1195 there. I am not doing this in season, I'm doing this non-seasonal to show you basically what you should be striving for when you are playing this a season, or even if you're playing this offline, or off-season, I should say. So, as you see, we're tanking a lot more hits here, which is why all those bombardments, since they're dropping every 4 seconds, you're pretty much every 4 seconds getting damage reduction thanks to the 4-piece bonus of this set. So I'm going to Steed Charge. This is why you use Steed Charge, just to get some mobility, and sometimes you go the wrong way. Alright, I have an Iron Skin. I activated it. Same thing, then we're just going to slash through mobs. Low-level mobs die pretty much still thanks to slash. As you see, look at all that damage, all those thorns coming left and right. There we go. As you see, pretty much what we're striving for here with a Greater Rift 75, we should be probably striving for about a 5-minute clear time with a non-fully optimized armor. By non-fully optimized, I mean no ancient, ancient legendary gems augmented into every armor slot. If we had that already, we'd be clearing Greater Rift 130 and higher. Steed Charge this way. Probably going to click my Reciprocate if I run into a situation here. Yeah, I did. I clicked Reciprocate because there's just a lot of enemies coming at us right now. So if we can fire back a little bit, that's fine. I hate the twists and turns in these particular dungeon layouts. Alright, so I didn't need to Reciprocate there because Slash pretty much imploded that particular leap pack there, so that worked in our benefit, and Steed this way. Same strategy. Always keep an eye on your Akarat's Champion and your Iron Skin cooldowns. when they're active. Oh, look, there's Iron Skin. Clicked it already, so that way I could be able to take a bit more hits there. Okay. That's a stretch there. We gotta be careful. Look at all those mobs. If we get too hyper aggressive here, we would take a death that we don't necessarily. So you have to learn with this armor when to show a bit restraint. Because if you get a little too aggro, you will have yourself in a bad situation where there's just too many mobs to deal with. Case in point there, look at all those mobs that are just fire and projectiles. If we were playing our armor right now, a lot of those projectiles that we took hits for, we probably would have died already. Again, that's just why the 4-piece bonus of this armor is really good in conjunction with now Bombardment, thanks to all the buffs that Bombardment got. I'm going to try to slash that mob over there. Okay, imploded. Rift Guardian. Unfortunately, none of our cooldowns are available, so we're going to have to try to slash them. Be careful. All right. All right. We were able to take him out thanks to a Bombardment dropping and slashing conjunction. I think we got 2 Primal Ancient Legendary things to drop also in that run, so that's interesting. Never seen that really happen in any of my runs before, so happy accident perhaps. All right, I'm going to level up, thinking here. None of these I can level right, but, you know what? We're going to level up Bane of the Trap, or try to. Okay, missed that one. We got that one. Got that one as well, and I think we'll get the 4th. No, we didn't get that one. So we got 2 out of 4. That's not so bad, considering that we'd have to be a little bit higher to be able to level that up a bit more. All right, so let's see. This is probably about 5-minute clear time, I would say. I'm just estimating here. Let's see. No, 4-minute clear time. So even without full optimization, Greater of 75, Torment 16 difficulty, we can clear it in under 5 minutes. So basically 4 minutes. A little shy of a 3-minute mark there. So that is very effective still, guys. So that's just some of the power that you can do. I'm going to actually identify these before I end the video, because I am curious as to what 2 Primal Ancient Legendaries dropped. Let's see. What is this? All right, that's the first Primal Ancient Legendary. You're never going to really use that, so that's pretty much going to get salvaged at this point. Let's see. Hopefully I can get something a little bit better. Identify these. Okay, so if we got a Primal Ancient Legendary, like, ring that was good, it would be great. We didn't get it, so it's not there. Is there a Primal Ancient Legendary? Nope. Okay, Black Thorn is a terrible thing. Never want to use that. Gold Wrap. Okay, ironically, if this was for a different class that doesn't use strength, that Gold Wrap would be perfect for some of the F-tier Necromancer builds. But unfortunately, because it is not that, that is pretty much a useless Primal Ancient Legendary for what we were accomplishing with any of the Crusader classes, so I'm just going to salvage it. No point putting it in the box, because it's one of those things that's just not beneficial to us. Alright, guys, so that's going to do it for today's episode. Make sure to give this video a like and subscribe, and tell me what you think of Thorns Invoker set. And I will see you for the next Diablo 3 video on Wednesday.